The U.S. president is threatening tariffs on some European countries as he escalates his bid to acquire Greenland. Let's go to Sean King on this. He's Senior Vice President at Park Strategies. Sean, do you see the tariff strategy working in any way to get Denmark to surrender control of Greenland?
Absolutely not. This is only going to get coalesce European support around Denmark even more. It's so counterproductive. If Greenland is important as Trump says it is, nobody's going to make such a strategic decision over 10% tariffs, which U.S. importers pay anyway. And I don't see how these tariffs would not be a breach of the trade deal that Trump struck with Ursula von der Leyen in the EU last year, because products from EU countries have a uniform tariff rate with external partners. So how would you put an extra 10% on Absolute vodka from Sweden or butter cookies from Denmark? So it's ridiculous. And no, it's just going to steal Danish resolve even more.
Does the U.S. need Greenland or just need a greater presence in Greenland?
I say this as an American, a security conscious American who's also lived in Scandinavia. We do not need Greenland. In many ways, we already have it. First of all, today, Denmark is a founding member of NATO, and we have a separate parallel treaty with Denmark in 1951 that basically gives us basing rights on Greenland. At the height of the Cold War, we had 50 installations on Greenland with 10,000 U.S. personnel. At the end of the Cold War, we still had 12 bases. Today, we only have one, but that's only because we chose to close those bases. And an amendment to the treaty in 2004, which acknowledges Danish control of Greenland, basically gives us the right to build more bases without even having to get approval from Greenland or Denmark. So we could have the milk without buying the cow. We could have the run of the place, do what we want, but let Denmark carry the cost of it. I mean, do we really want to be subsidizing Scandinavia-style healthcare for the population of Greenland and having to monitor this when we can have our way there anyway? It's absolutely ridiculous. It would also mean the end of NATO. So we would be the only ones protecting Greenland instead of all 32 members of the NATO alliance. It's very counterproductive and is really a disservice both to the alliance and U.S. interests.
Okay, could this be a play to what you had just mentioned, where the U.S. doesn't run Greenland but gets to do whatever it wants to do and get deals for what it wants from Greenland?
I mean, no offense to you or your network, but that makes no sense because that's already the case. You know, Denmark has been asking us for years to come back and put more forces there. They've been begging us to drill there and mine there for whatever we want. None of this, we already have that situation. All this is going to do is alienate the people even more. And, you know, one charitable view of this is that Trump feels or fears that one day Greenland will declare independence from Denmark and then affiliate itself with Moscow or Beijing. So we want to occupy it in the meantime. So we're going to forcefully occupy Greenland. Then we have a restive population, a Greenlandic insurgency against U.S. occupation. How does that make us better than China and Tibet or the South China Sea today? There's really no need to do any of this because we already have that. Greenland is ours for the strategic taking if we want it, and just let Denmark continue owning it.
What does this do to NATO? And you alluded to this, but give me an idea of what this does to NATO. So we're starting out with tariffs and then counter-tariffs, but we're seeing some military presence beefed up in the area. So what does this do to NATO?
Depending on what more happens, it could, and I'm not trying to be hyperbolic here, it could really mean the end of the alliance. The only time that NATO's collective security charter has been invoked was on 9/11. And this would be the first attack otherwise on a NATO member by another NATO member itself, if we go in militarily. But even if we coerce Denmark into surrendering it, that means the U.S. cannot be trusted as an ally. Because again, it's not just the NATO treaty, but we also have this separate standalone treaty with Denmark that was amended in 2004. So it shows we can't be trusted. Also, except for Canada, and I'm not just saying that to suck up to the audience, you really can't ask for a better ally. Denmark resisted Nazi Germany. Unlike neighboring Sweden, it joined NATO in 1949 and was with us not only in Afghanistan, but also Iraq. After the U.S., Denmark suffered the most casualties per capita in Afghanistan of any other country. And this is how we treat our best friends. I do think that if we continue down this path, it would mean the end of NATO.
Do you see this escalating to more of a military standoff and then perhaps stalling there?
2 weeks ago, I would have said no, but after Venezuela, anything's possible. I still consider it very unlikely, but if I were at Vegas right now, and I will be in March for a Knights game against the Blackhawks, if I had to say, I'd say there's a 20% chance we do something. We send some kind of troops or force in that's unwelcome.
Are you surprised
that would be an outrage?
Are you surprised that hasn't already happened? Because we've heard, as you heard.
No, I'm not surprised it hasn't already happened because, you know, we're still digesting what happened in Venezuela. And it's really this Greenland talk has only started the last 2 or 3 weeks. I was in Copenhagen the week after the election in 2024, and it was still just a joke around the dinner table. It's only the last few weeks that and then we thought everybody forgot about it. But now it's picked up speed. I'm not surprised that, you know, it's only been a few weeks. Maybe Trump thinks he can bluster them into giving it away. So I'm not surprised we haven't tried anything yet. But I put it at like a 20% chance that we do something. What
is the sentiment like, Sean, among Americans to the idea of a conflict with or in Greenland?
I think most people haven't considered it seriously because it just seems so farcical. And I think people have a trouble understanding where Greenland is and what it is. Most people just fly over it on their way back from Europe. And, you know, some people will defend Trump no matter what, and they just think it's liberal histrionics. But for those who think it through, they think it could be a disaster. And I'm happy that a lot of conservative intellectuals like Rich Lowry and Douglas Murray and others have penned very persuasive op-eds to try to convince Trump. This is not just a Democrat thing. A lot of sensible Republicans, and we saw some Republican members of Congress go to Denmark and Greenland last week and carry this message as well. So not that many people are thinking about it because not everyone takes Trump seriously. But for those who do and who know the issues, they're very alarmed.
Sean King, Gottlieb, they're always good to have you, sir. Thank you.